I'm here. A shining head is coming down into the gutter like this. So when I was hard on his face, I kept spitting on his face until he got angry and he started hitting me. And I can talk to Baba even now, just like that. So I have an open line with him. I want to have sex with many women. But Baba, I want to do all these. What? What do you want to do? Substances. He did like this. Because then you can see where people are coming from. Usually people misjudge where others are coming from.
Right.
It is not such an evil place as people judge them to be. Why don't we discuss everything until we both see each other as beautiful? If you come physically near me and throw hate at me, everybody will get mowed down. Everybody's me, myself, my consciousness, my super consciousness, my samadhi, my mukti, my moksha. They'll get my stick and show his face. Saying Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman.
Guru Pashupati will put a smile on your face by his sheer authenticity and lack of pretension. Not for the faint of heart or easily offended. Talking to him is a trip in itself. One moment he is dropping F-bombs and cursing what humans are doing to Mother Nature. Then the next, he starts talking like a close friend and starts sharing his memories with an open heart. And then the next, he slips into profound and ecstatic states, talking of his love of his Guru and Lord Hanuman and Sri Ram. Then again, he takes a surprise turn into a crude joke, which makes you laugh so hard that you're gasping for air. Never a dull moment, never an instance of resistance. Firm and decisive, yet fluid and spontaneous. Always an open invite to adventuring in the earthly and divine realms. Also, I cannot begin this podcast or this experience of Guru Pashupati without mentioning his tribe of 10 individuals who are a reflection of their own Guru, yet clearly authentic in their own right. These are strong young men and women, wildly free yet conscious beings, finely tuning their senses into a higher and more refined spiritual sense and perception. It's not often I meet one of my own kind, let alone a clan of 10. And now to all my fellow seekers and finders, welcome to the Yogi's Pod.
So I was born in Bangalore in the 70s. And I'm around 50 years old now. And back then, Bangalore was a very different city because it was almost like a forest. They used to call it the Garden City, but it had so many trees. And it also had a lot of crime. My father was into a lot of yoga. So he had learned from Maharishi Yogi, and he learned in Bihar School of Yoga. And so he would keep talking to me about things like astral projection and stuff like that. And he would keep trying to do it. But those things came very easily to me, even when I was a kid. And that's when my spiritual journey actually started. I got an electric shock also. Just like superheroes get shocks and then after that they can get superpowers. Something like that happened. And after that I was able to see auras, but I lost my speech. I wasn't able to talk.
You were stammering for some duration.
Yeah, like it's as good as losing a speech because you can't even call it stammering. It was so severe that I was literally like dumb.
Okay.
So, uh, uh, because of this disability, there was a lot of conflict with other children when I was young. So they would start to make fun of me, try to complete my sentences. And nobody had patience to listen because if I had to say a small sentence, it would take 1 minute. So nobody had the patience to listen. So I used to get very frustrated, very angry. And finally, I turned to yoga to understand why did this happen to me? And why do I have all these problems? And then on top of that, the bullying got really, really bad. I was continuing with my yoga practice. And at around the age of 12, it got really bad, the bullying. I couldn't even enter my house from the front gate. I had to come in from the back, go to the neighbor's house, climb the wall into my house to avoid the kids out there waiting to bash me up. Because I fought with one of them, and after that, he brought his friends, and then they were just after me. It was, I don't know, I couldn't explain it. And at the back of my mind, I'm wondering, why are we so mean to each other? Why can't we just live in peace happily?
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted, but I didn't know how to do it. So I said, okay, I'm going to at least solve this problem so that I can walk out of the front gate of my house. I told my dad once, my dad warned them. And then they came back and they beat me some more. They're saying, you'll call your dad or what? Put, put, put. I got even for that. So one day I said, I'm going to have a showdown. And at that time, I was learning a lot of martial arts. And I was winning tournaments. But you can't fight 10 people. You just can't. Because it's just too many people. And some of them had knives and all that. So one day I really went very bravely. I went and fought. And they just beat me so bad. They took cow dung and smeared it all over my face.
Wow.
And they made me to sit inside the gutter.
Children can be cruel.
Yeah. So I had to sit under the gutter. I had rats for company there. And I was really angry with Shiva.
Mm.
And I'm like, how can you let this happen to me? Like, what kind of protector are you? What are you protecting me from? You know, I was pissed off. And I said, you give me knowledge. You don't have to take me out of this. You teach me how to get out of this. I'll get out myself. Why you not send me a teacher? That's how angry I was. And then when I sat there, after some time, just in a few minutes, I was crying and I didn't know what to do. And I just wanted to kill myself at that point. When there was a shining head. This is the gutter. I'm here. A shining head is coming down into the gutter like this. And I'm like, whoa, how does your head shine? You know, and I came out. Uh, so, you know how there's a gutter and then there's this thing for the cars to go to the houses? They made me sit under that, inside the gutter. So I saw this light head come down and I went out to the light head and there was this guy standing there. He said, I saw you fighting. You're very brave. I'll teach you how to fight. You come to my house at 5. And I said, where do you live? He gave me the location where he lived because that time we didn't have address or Google Maps or anything. So he told me where he lives. It was near a friend's house, my friend's house. So I went there and I started training with him. And this time he was making me do crazy things. Like the first thing he made me do is to get into the neighbor's house who had a dog and steal their cricket wicket, you know. And he said, you need that. I'm like, okay. And I did it also. I took some food. I took a piece of fish, threw it to the dog. And then I made friends with the dog. Then I went in. I took the wicket and came out. And he was like happy that I could do that. And he said, okay, now you get a rope. And he hit some nails into the wicket. And he tied the rope around securely. And he tied that to a stone. And he said, now you roll this. You roll it like this.
Okay.
Keeping it at your shoulder level. And I'm doing just rolling it. And it's coming all the way up here.
Burns your forearms.
Everything.
Okay.
Forearms, straps, shoulders, everything. Used to make me do things like this. So there were a lot of such exercises where you throw a rope over a thing and you pull the rope and raise yourself up. So one part of the rope is tied to your waist. And then you're pulling your own weight up like that. Something like that.
So he started training you mostly
with functional stuff like this,
Right.
okay? And I became like really strong. He didn't teach me any fighting. He said, I asked him, when are you going to teach me fighting? He said, no, first you be strong, then I'll teach you to fight. Once he thought I was strong enough, he said, today I'll teach you fighting. I was very excited. What is the first move? It's going to be a kick. It's going to be a punch. It's going to be... And he said, you come with me. And we went to the railway station. He pointed at someone and he said, you go and spit on that guy's face. You know, first he said, you go and scold him. I said, speech problem. So he said, you just go spit on his face. So when I started on his face, I kept spitting on his face until he got angry and he started hitting me. Then I used some of my moves and boom, he was gone. And I was like, wow, that was easy because I've become so strong, even as a 12-year-old kid.
This is like a scene from the Fight Club.
Is it?
Movie.
I thought it was more like Karate Kid, you know, where he makes him haul wear jacket, take off jacket. I did a lot of that wear jacket, take off.
Wax
He didn't
on,
teach me to
wax off,
fight.
right.
Yeah, I did a lot of wax on, wax off, but he never taught me to fight.
Right.
But it was happening. The wax on, wax off was working because of all the drills he made me do, right? So he would put like 4 balls and he'd send all the balls moving and I had to stand in the center and avoid all of them. So balls would go around me, I'd keep avoiding them. And meanwhile, he'd poke me with a stick and I had to avoid that also. So all that training he's made me do, but he's never taught me to hit anyone. I don't know how to hit anyone. I just kept escaping. But then I said, I have to end this. So I pulled the guy's ankle. It's called uprooting. So I caught his ankle and I uprooted him. He used to make me pluck out plants like this, you know. Started with small plants and then you go to bigger plants, uproot plants. So I just did an uprooting of the guy. I caught his ankle and uprooted him. Boom! He came out like a plant. because I had pulled out trees, not plants, not trees, but plants which are as thick as an ankle. I had pulled out with my arms when I was a kid. So it was easy for me to do all that. And I was like, wow. And I don't know, and doing all this natural stuff, my body used to get charged with prana because I'm outside barefoot in the sun without my shirt, getting in all the sunlight. So I had become like a supercharged human being. Even my intelligence was working really, really fast. And then he made me do this 300 times. He made me fight with 300 people. And then he said, okay, now you know how to fight. I'm going. Shh. And he just pushed off. He took money from all of my friends. And he said, this guy will pay you back. And then he just went. And I'm like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going. And he got into a train and pushed off. And that's the last I saw of him. I was like, wow, what was that? And now I have this great ability to fight. What am I going to do with it? Okay. Then years later, I couldn't go to school. After all this experience, I just couldn't go to school because I felt there's just no knowledge being taught in school. So I stopped going to school. I figured out a way I can get attendance and I vanished from there. Then I worked in a cycle shop first. Then I worked in a bakery. Then I worked in a butcher's shop. And finally, I got a job in an electronics factory where I then started selling those UPS and stabilizers. And then by the age of 13, I became an entrepreneur because I can't talk. I taught my friends what to say to the traders who have shops, like sari shops and all that. They go there and say, listen, you know, let's do some maths and find out how much money you lose when there's a power cut per hour. And for many people, that turned out to be a lot of money. So I said, then they would say, then just buy this UPS and your problem is solved. You know, so they were losing something like 8,000, 9,000 rupees a month, but the UPS was just 5,500. So they bought two, one for him, one for his brother's shop, you know. So like that, my kids used to go and sell to everyone. And we used to rake in money with the sales because we were getting like 500 rupees per sale and it's so easy to sell when you know how to sell. You just make them do the calculation, okay? So people were so grateful for this when we were doing it. Then that's how I ran all my companies. I call it gratitude money. I take money from people only when they're grateful. So even now, when I'm an entrepreneur, I do a lot of things. I make these myself, and we make those orange glasses, you know.
Right.
And we have some amazing protein bars, like 30 grams of proteins for vegetarians, and we have for non-vegetarians also protein bars made out of meat.
Right.
So all these we make, and we'll soon start selling them.
Okay.
So I just got back 3 years back. Seriously, 3 years ago, I got back to teaching. But before that, I met my guru when I was 18 again. It's the same person, but I didn't know. This time he's come in another form.
Right.
I had popped out of body after holding my breath for at least 9 minutes or so. I was out of body. So I don't know. This body has stopped breathing. I don't know what was happening. I was fully out and I was feeling free, and I was like, wow, this is great. It's nice to not have a body and I can do whatever I want. And I was just feeling happy with myself. The bell rang and I started getting pulled back into the body. I knew that something is making me sit back in the body, and I didn't want to because this body is already painful.
So
It's
you
turning blue.
astrally projected accidentally initially.
I don't know what these words are, but
Okay.
I was outside. Okay.
Mhm.
In astral projection, you expect to have another body, like a subtle body or
Okay.
something, right? Here, there was nothing. There was no body, nothing. Really nothing. I can't say who I am, what I am, nothing. I don't know who I am. But I can feel I'm getting pulled back. And when I got back into the body, it was very painful because it's not breathed now, or for at least 12 minutes, maybe it's not breathed. I don't know. But I got up somehow. I was breathing like a dog. I went to the front of the door. My father's already opened the door. My guru is standing over there. My dad is telling him, I'm not buying whatever you're selling. He's looking at my dad like this. Then he looked at me. He didn't say anything to my dad. And he said, come here. He gave me a Rudraksh. And he said, I will come back to teach you yoga. Till then, you stop all your practice. That's what he said. I said, Arey, wow, I have a guru. I had no idea. So he went away after that.
Okay.
But this is a very beautiful, handsome person, like not like the one who taught me martial arts. The face itself is different. The body is different.
Right.
But there was something about the light that is
You
coming.
knew it was him.
I knew I'd seen this before. I didn't know where. And immediately within few minutes, I started thinking, is it this guy who taught me martial arts? Is it him? Is it him? And then I forgot about it. He told me also, you just because you're intelligent, don't look down on people. You didn't go to school; they went to school. So I said, yeah, okay. And he said, no, it's very easy for you to become arrogant. If you become arrogant, I will not come back for you. And I will come back for you when you're ready. You need to go and get rid of your arrogance. I'm like, what arrogance? I don't have arrogance. Because I was running a company. Like, I was like, how can you run a company and have arrogance? Because you have to deal with everyone's ego. And you need to deal with the customer's ego and everything. Right? So I was like, come on, man, I don't have.
So at this
But
stage, were you running your martial arts companies as well?
no, that time I was doing there was this big dot-com boom when I was 18. And uh, I started a company which was doing graphic user interfaces and websites.
Okay.
And they used to charge a lot of money at that time for this kind of things. So I just kept starting new things, and the companies kept running. It kept putting money in my pocket, and I started a new company. I do that even now. I run everything. I run a lot of things, but I'm never doing one thing. Like me, no, I'm doing one thing, but I get people who can do other things. I'm good. I'm really good with people. Okay. So I'm like, I'm so good with people. What does it mean that I have an ego? So at that time, I didn't know the meaning of ego. And ego just means that self-development. You're just going to go on developing yourself, and you don't give a shit about anybody else. And I was guilty of that too at that time. So he told me also that you will get married. So you go get married. Once that's over, then you'll be able to come to me. And I'm like, wow, what is this? But it just so happened. Suddenly, I met this girl, who I thought was the most beautiful girl in the world, etc., etc., and I got married to her. And I was like, how did that happen? I didn't even know. But luckily, we didn't have kids. But 9 years later, I was sitting in Varanasi, having done the last rites for my ex-wife's father and her grandmother at the same time. And the priestess told me, if you are doing the last rites, you will become her brother. And I was like, that's okay. I'm already like that. And so we did that, and I was sitting like, what is my life? Like, what am I doing? Why is there no meaning in my life? I'm sitting on the ghats of Varanasi, and I'm thinking, look at these heads. They plug the nose and they plug the ears, the air can't go out, and the brain bursts because they want the soul to come out of the head. And it's a gory sight to see in Manikarnika Ghat, sitting there all night. Bodies are coming all night because people want to die in Kashi so that they can go straight to
That's what
Shivlok.
they say. Yeah.
Shivlok. So they want to go there. So there are like people waiting there, and I believe that. I believe that's a really phenomenal fire, because it's been burning forever. Nobody knows how long. It never goes off. People don't allow it to go off for generations. It's like how the Parsis maintain their fire, and Varanasi, the Hindus maintain the fire. It's the most sacred fire for us. So I was just sitting there at the most sacred fire in the world for Hindus. And I'm just seeing all the heads explode. I'm going near and seeing head bursts. And I was kind of enjoying it. I was like, you soul, you go become a human again, but don't be stupid, okay? And I was talking to each of the souls as they were leaving. Some of them I could feel coming and sitting next to me and talking to me also. Some of them were giving advice. They said, today is a very special day, somebody told me. One of the souls, I could feel that. Like a dream it was. And I'm like, okay, it's a special day, really? What's going to happen? And I'm not scared of ghosts. I've been hanging out with ghosts for a long time. Like even when I was a kid, I used to go to the cremation ground. Somehow I would wake up in the middle of the night after my parents had slept, slip out soundlessly and go sit in the cremation ground. I don't know why I was doing it. It was close to my house, about 1 kilometer. But even then, the walk was scary for a young kid. And I was just like 7 or 8, and I used to go sit there every night. I felt like Kali is calling me there. Then I would go sit, and I would feel like I'm sleeping in her lap. I would sleep there, and I would somehow wake up just before dawn and come back to my house. I did this almost every day from the age of 7 up until the age of 13, 14. No, till the age of 14. Then we had to move from that house. So till then, when I had access to the cremation ground, I used to go and sit there. So I have spoken to a lot of spirits, and I have felt that I've slept in Kali's lap, and all that has happened to me. That's why when this happened, I was so angry with Shiva. Like, why you are supposed to be Adi Guru? Why you're not sending me knowledge? I was so pissed off with him. And then I was just sitting. I just have ghosts for company, man. I'm sitting here in Manikarnika Ghat again. Whenever I go to Smashan, I can see all the spirits, talk all the spirits. So I'm sitting there, and then I turn around because some light is coming from that side, and I'm like, "Is it again my guru?" And all this time, I didn't know that he's Mahavtar Babaji. I had no idea. Because they draw Mahavtar Babaji like Cher, Cher, this singer Cher,
Oh.
Cher. Huh. I put a photo of Cher and I put a photo of Mahavtar Babaji together. It looks almost similar. Mahavtar Babaji does not look like Cher. He's a black Tamil guy.
Oh.
Yeah. None of the pictures that are there are accurate. Another one I saw, in that he looks like a bear or some kind of forest animal.
You're talking about the one which is there in the autobiography of a yogi. There's one there also.
Is that there? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure. I've not read this book. Everybody tells me, Babaji, and you haven't read autobiography. I'm like, no. I asked Baba, should I read the book? He said, no. So I didn't read. Anyway, so he comes this time, but around, I don't know, 10 to 12 students were with him. More like 18, I think. Some of them women. I would say like 30% women. And the rest are all men, and they're all walking towards me. They're all handsome, beautiful, amazing. Like, you've not seen such beautiful people even in the movies. And I'm like, wow, what is this? And I'm like, this has to be a society of immortals or something. I was jumping down and running to him. He called me also like that. And when I came, he held me, he uh, hugged me, he put his hand on my head and said, have you waited long? I said, yeah. And he said, you go to Bangalore, you close everything, and you come back here. So I stayed with him in Varanasi for a few months. And he was there in Varanasi. People know him in Varanasi. He keeps coming there. So I stayed with him and he taught me Agora over there. So after that, he said, come on, let's go to the mountains. This is baby stuff. I'll teach something more. And I'm like, wow.
How old are you this time?
I'm 32.
Okay.
Otherwise, I was an entrepreneur all through. Just doing all sorts of crazy businesses. Even now, the businesses I run disrupt markets, whatever I'm doing. And now finally I'm applying those skills to teach yoga. So it is disrupting the market in many ways. Okay. And it will. We just got started. So I closed my companies in Bangalore and I got a divorce and I left. And it was very easy. My ex-wife was okay with it because she knew that this is my spiritual calling. She didn't want to stop me. She said, you go. And I went. I got the permission of everyone and I went. Okay. A lot of people want to run out and be yogis, but Baba told me, you go back and tell everyone you're going to be a yogi. They should have no expectations from you. Then only you can come. When they have expectations from you and you don't meet those expectations, then they'll curse you.
There'll be trouble.
In their mind, they'll feel betrayed. And then that causes karma, he said. So you go and make sure everybody's letting you go happily, then you come. So really, everyone let me go happily. There was no problem. Because I was talking about this with so much enthusiasm and light, and they said either he's mad or he's really found a spiritual guru. So they said, okay, whatever it was. So I gave most of my property and stuff to my ex-wife. Pushed off. Nothing in my thing. I had a bag with some stuff.
Which he asked you to throw away.
Yeah. Like it had my passport and all, man. He said, throw it. I threw it. No passport now. Where are we going? Nepal. I'm like, okay. How are we going? Walking. Yeah. So we did it. I went with the whole band of people and they took me to Nepal. It was their energy that lifted me all the way to walk through the snow and everything barefoot, no, not even bag. If you're hungry, then we ask for food and somebody gives food. And I was only one getting hungry. These are immortals. They don't get hungry. They would ask me, are you hungry? Like, yeah. And then some of them would be like, what do you want to eat? And I'll be like, some butter chicken and tandoori naan would be awesome. He'll do like this and pull it out from the space between his leg.
Really?
Yeah, tandoori naan, butter chicken. And I'm like, wow. And I was like, where am I? You know? And I lived the whole time there. And then after some time, when he reached there, those yogis left. The ones who had come, they went away somewhere. It was just me, Baba, Mataji, and a few other yogis. So he said, I'll give you my bow and arrow. You go and hunt ibex whenever you feel hungry. But you shouldn't feel hungry if you keep doing the kriyas. And that was true. I was feeling hungry once in a week. And then I would feel the hunger coming. Then I would take Baba's bow and hunt an ibex and kill it, bring it back, cook it, and eat it. And then I wouldn't feel hungry for another week. And the same ibex would be there only, preserved in the snow. So, like that, it started becoming like I'm not feeling hungry for a whole month. Because I'm sitting in the sun, I'm sitting in the snow, my feet are in the snow all the time, barefoot. And nothing is happening. And it's snowing all the time, right? So it goes on falling on your body. Fresh snow, and it all melts up, it becomes ice. With the heat of the meditation, it all becomes water. So it becomes a pool of water and it flows out. So that was going on. And
So you trained for 18 months.
Yeah, 18 months I was there. Then Baba said, you're going back alone. Like a lot of things happened there.
So this time your training was more spiritual in nature.
No. I learned martial art more.
Okay.
The kalim is what I learned. The martial art is called kalim. And I learned it from another guru there.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to reveal her name publicly. But she came to meet Babaji. Babaji sent me with her. So she taught me a lot of things. She taught me about yoga as well. She taught me Kalim, and she showed me about the 5 elements so that I could understand what it is. She taught me about the 9 planets, the 27 nakshatras, what are they, what are the secrets, and what's written in the Vedas about them. And then with this information, she made me to read the Vedas. And then I came back. Babaji then sent me down south. He said, you have to walk back to Varanasi. From there, you can take a flight and go to Coimbatore, near Sadhguru's ashram, the Velyangiri. So I went to Velyangiri, I went to the temple, I was sitting there and waiting. Pundi temple something. And then it became night. And then after night, this man comes riding on a tiger. His name is Amritanandanath. He lives there and he has a tiger and he rides on it. And then he taught me some stuff about the Vama Marga and Dakshina Marga, what's the difference. And then he taught me what to do, like how to do black magic and how to remove it and all those kind of things. And then he told me how we can connect with Devi in nature. So he taught me in so many ways. Like you saw today, I went for a walk and I came back with so many feathers. It's not possible for anyone. You don't get so many peacock feathers, so many eagle feathers, so many crow feathers all together and come back. There's the spirits over here. They love me, so they give gifts whenever I come. Nobody else gets like that. They come at me, they get something. They'll be getting gifts from here, and you'll be like, "Wow, what is all this?" So, you remember when I was coming here, I touched a tree, and then I came in. I don't know if you noticed. That's the entrance to this grove, and there is a spirit on that tree. So I made friends with that. So it allowed me to get in touch with nature and spirits and things like that. And he deepened my Agora practice. And he also was an expert in herbs. So he taught me a lot about herbs, like what herbs to cure what, how should they be plucked, how should you talk to the tree, the spirit will tell you what to do with it. You learn.
This is beyond Ayurveda and Siddha medicine?
It is Siddha only,
Okay.
but it is the real Siddha, like how a real Siddha will talk to trees and plants and rocks and he'll see which is a medicine and he'll use it, but a real Siddha can also heal you with just energy.
Yeah.
Boom. So he taught me that also. He taught me a lot of healing. And then I forgot everything after I came back. And finally I came back and I tried to teach yoga and I didn't know where to start because I learned too much. So I didn't know how to put it in the beginning. To make a beginning for my yoga took me about 9 years to find out where I should start for people. because I didn't go to school. I don't know how badly damaged everyone is, right? With the philosophy of selfishness, which is what Baba told me to understand. It's not self-development, it's social development. If you move from self-development to social development, then you have dropped your ego. Otherwise, no. He says you move to social development in your work, because at that time we had trained more than 2 million girls at that time. Now it's crossed 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
But through our NGO, we trained 2 million girls in self-defense. And then we started training the boys also. And we started training the boys on gender sensitivity plus self-defense, because they have more violence than the girls.
Yeah.
So in government schools across India and even in Kendriya Vidyalayas, our program has been taught by a central government agency called NIPSED. So I had impacted already 2 million people by the time Baba called me back. No? People ask me all the time, how can I meet Babaji? Why did he come only to you? You have to be a hero if you want to be recruited by the Samrat of 18 planets. That's who he is. He told me there are 18 planets in the solar system and not 9. And he said a lot of them we've not seen and we've not discovered yet, but they are there. They're all rotating over the sun, and all of them are inhabited. So those beings used to come to meet Baba when he was up there. And Baba was the Samrat of Ashtadasha Mahadvipa. Mahadvipa means planet. He's the Samrat of 18 planets of the solar system. That's who he is, man. People wonder who's Mahavtar Babaji, and everyone has their own interpretation. But I'm an artist, fortunately, so one of these days when I get time, I'll make a proper painting of Baba. I have a statue which looks like Baba in my room,
Mm-hmm.
which I got made. But I want to make a life-size statue of Baba and install it in Mysore so that people can come and take his blessings. He said he will keep a part of him inside the statue, which is what I'm looking forward to making it look like a Tamilian and not like Sher.
Mm-hmm. So back to the timeline,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you initially forgot what he
Yeah,
taught you.
yeah, I'll come to that because after he came back, I said that I don't know anything about life, Baba.
Mm.
And I can talk to Baba even now, just like that. So I have an open line with him.
Mm-hmm.
Told him, I don't know anything about life, Baba. So what you don't know about life? I said, I don't know anything. I've had sex only with that one woman whom I married. I want to have sex with many women. Then Baba said, when was the last time you were happy?
Mm.
I said, 11 years. When I was 11. And when I was 12, all this violence started and I was not happy. But till 11, I was fine. I was learning. I was great. He said, become 11 years old again and start from there. So I announced on Facebook, from today, I'm 11 years old. This is when I was 33.
Mm.
I'm 11, so I'm going to bring myself up since none of you did a good job of it. And in that state, I gave 2 TED Talks. There were 3 TED Talks actually, TEDx talks about my martial arts work and all that.
Yes.
And then I was in that state, and then I told Baba, I want to do all these. What? What you want to do? Substances.
Mm.
So he said, yeah, do. So I went and did
Mm.
everything. And then I found out, okay. And then I told Baba, I want to actually fall in love with someone. Like
Mm.
really, really, I want to do. He said, okay, go do. And I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. It's not happening. And with each encounter, I'm losing virya, I'm losing my energy, I'm losing my all everything that I meditated for didn't make meaning because I had no purpose, right? So he wanted to show me first that just gyan doesn't have purpose. Just gyan doesn't have meaning. Just having knowledge
Mm.
doesn't help you in any way
Mm.
if you don't have purpose. Okay, so it is icha, jnana, kriya. Purpose, knowledge, and action. Kriya is to the power. You can say power to take action, right? So I've had power in the past. I've run companies. I've done things, and I've done a lot of things, very very powerful things in the past, right? But still, I didn't have purpose. So even power without purpose is a waste, and only purpose without knowledge and power is also waste. So these three go together, no?
Mm.
So he just wanted me to learn that the hard way, And whenever I got into a relationship, I forgot to ask what is the purpose. For me, the purpose was to get laid. But there's no purpose beyond that. For many of the girls, it was that only. And for some of them, it was baby daddy. Like, make me their baby daddy. And I would narrowly escape from all of this. I never became a dad. So this happened for 72 relationships. Then I said, Baba, I'm fed up. This is in August 2022. Okay. August 2020. He's not letting me teach also. On top of that, Baba's like, I won't let you teach. So here I am, fully drained of all my virya, my energy. And I'm just like, I have so many diseases and all sorts of things are going on. And I fought the diseases just before this last girlfriend. The one before that, she got cancer and she was with me. And all my life savings went again in that. Then I had to become an entrepreneur again. Then I had to lost all my money in this cancer treatment and my own treatment because I got type 1.5 diabetes because of my lovely lifestyle of drinking every day and smoking and having other substances and also just not getting any sunlight, not getting any grounding. Nothing of what I did in the mountains I'm doing. Like, I'm living like an urban person. Started killing me. I lost all my life force from being in a place where I don't have to eat and I'm literally immortal. Mortality became so real for me. And then I wasn't in a panic. I was like, yeah, it's a test by my teacher. All I have to do is keep learning. I kept learning, kept learning. I started another company. That company also became very big later. And I left the board of directors because I was not interested. I found what they were doing a bit unethical, so I left. So, because if you're promising to cure people, you should cure them, not give them half cures. And I was not okay with just giving people supplements and that and this for we don't know why, because we read it in some book. So I just left that. I found that it has no basis, and then I moved on. I was doing kind of ethical health consulting myself, and I was now located in the mountains. Then I came back. I came to Pondicherry. From Pondicherry, I went to Goa, where I was with this other girl, and then this time I was really fed up. But Baba had made a prophecy. He said, I'll let you teach when there is no puja offered in any temple. First he said, I'll let you teach when everyone is atheistic. I'm like, how will I know that? He said, there won't be puja offered in temple for 30 days. Then you can assume everyone is an atheist. I'm like, okay. And it happened. In the June of 2000, that happened. There was no puja offered in any temple. I'm like, is it time for me to teach? And this time I'm in Goa. And I'm like, Baba, are you going to come to me again? Are you going to give me permission to teach? You have to come if you're going to ask me to teach. Don't do SMS, I was telling him. Don't do WhatsApp, mental WhatsApp. I want to see you. I want you to bless me. I want you to touch my forehead. He said, okay. And because I was begging him for 3 nights, I begged him. On the 4th night, he said, come to Vagatar, the hill on Vagatar. So I went and he was there, standing on top of the hill, smiling. And I felt like there is no more problem from this day on. I went and I fell at his feet. He touched my head. He said, you know what I gave you? He did like this. You know what I gave you? I said, I don't know. He said, I gave you the ability to remove karmas. Now you go. And then that started unpacking. And then I started understanding the techniques to remove karma. I removed the karma that I have with this girl right away. And I was able to leave the next day. And then I came back and I just removed all the karmas with all useless people. Then I started to teach yoga earnestly. And I realized I don't know what the market wants. Because people say they want health. So I did something called Yoga Siddhi, which is all about health. I did part 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. And still I'm like, nobody's getting healthy. What is wrong? So I dug deeper and I realized they're just not outdoors like us. That's why they're not healthy. They don't touch the bare earth with their feet. They don't get sun on their body and they eat too much and they eat after the sun sets. So you just have to stop these things. So I started training people like that and I said, hey, this is free, man. Nobody should charge for telling you this. Why should I charge you to tell you that you should go outside, get sun and your PCOD will be fixed, your hormonal issues will be fixed? If you go to a river like this and you put your half body inside and half outside and you sit there for like 20 minutes, all your hormonal issues will be fixed. It's free to know this. Even if you have a tub of water and you put water till here and you sit and you will reset your clock. There's a lot of science behind it. And if anyone's interested, read the book called Mitochondriac Manifesto by R.D. Lee. Anybody's got health problems. You got pimples, you got hair falling, you can't put on weight, can't lose weight. So I want you to, I want you to read this book, those who are watching. And it's an essential book. And I went to doctors long time. They couldn't cure me. I cured myself of my type 1.5 diabetes, which is autoimmune diabetes. And it's called latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, LADA. It has many names, okay? It has many names but no cure. So people didn't know like how to cure me, and my sugars were hitting 400. They're like, insulin le lo, take insulin. And I'm like, no, I don't want to take insulin. I want to fix it myself. So I fixed it. And I said, I had just fixed my girlfriend's cancer. Why can't I fix this? I fixed it. I figured it out. I figured out natural ways to fix it. And I was like, wow, okay. I tried teaching it to people, no one's getting fixed. Because they don't want to do simple things like this. And the night they want to shine a light in their face, their phone, all the time. And your eye is thinking it's mid-afternoon looking at the phone. And it's producing hormones in your body like it's mid-afternoon. And it's doing all the cycles of hormones in your body, and everything that's going on in your body is going on like it's mid-afternoon. Then the cortisol builds up and builds up and builds up, and then your arteries get something, and then your blood vessels burst, and all sorts of things happen. Okay? So getting light after night is not good for anyone. If you come to my house after 6:30 in the evening, there will not be a single light on. My electric bill is in 3 digits, and that's only because I use an AC. But I don't use any lights. Okay. In the night, your temperature has to be lower. Body temperature has to be lower, so I make it very cold in my room. My room is like 16 degrees centigrade at night. Most people are like, wow, why is it so cold in here? But I keep it like as cold as I can. And also because I miss the mountains. Anyway. So coming back after Yoga Siddhi 4.0, then I said I'm going to teach something properly. I had made a course called the Mahasiddha course, like learn Siddha Yoga. And I realized people want to learn Siddha Yoga, but they're still not ready. So I said, let's give them a challenge first. So I made a 64-day challenge, and that's what I'm now teaching. And that's one of those things where you can really explore consciousness and understand who you are, what you're doing on this earth. So it's a very hit program. Like that's finally working. Finally, after that only my YouTube went up, and my Instagram, which was at 1,000 followers for so many years, suddenly became 155K followers or something like that. So that's how people are starting to know about what we do. We've never taken an ad ever.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about what you do in your Gurukulam? I know I have to get experience a little bit of your Gada training, but can you speak about?
So there's two identities, right? Some that like your identity comes from two things. The goddess Parvati was tested on these two by Lord Shiva. One is knowledge, and how much you know is who you are, and what you look like, your form. Your form is who you are. These are the two things we focus on. We focus on our knowledge and our form.
Okay.
Our form has to be in such a way that it can like lift a rock, right? You lifted a rock now to put all these seeds. So your form has to be in a way that you can lift a rock, like Hanuman. And your knowledge has to be like Sri Ram. Like you need to understand how to come to agreement with other people. This much knowledge, if you don't have, you'll die in this world. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. If you don't know how to come to agreement, you'll die.
So coming to an agreement means that the other person is willing to see your perspective. That is what you mean by it?
Correct. You need empathy. Okay? Empathy is just presence, right? It's easy to explain presence to someone. I told you what I did yesterday. My student Hia had come home and she was like, Guruji, what does it mean to be present? I threw a pillow on her head. She's like, huh?
Did she catch it?
No, it hit her smack in the forehead. So I picked it up again, and again I threw hit her in the forehead. Then again I picked it up, and the third time she blocked it. Then I said, that's being present. Okay.
Do you think you can always come to an agreement with people?
When you're present. If you're not present, you can't. You have to really have something called empathy. Okay, when you have presence, you'll get something called empathy, and empathy is not not like having the same views. That's not what empathy is. It's not sympathy. That is sympathy. Okay, empathy is knowing what the other person is thinking.
Okay.
It's like mind reading, and especially knowing what the other person thinks of you. That's empathy. Empathy doesn't mean that you're going to sympathize with them, but you're going to know what the hell they're thinking, even if it's your enemy. You're going to know what they think of you, what they're going to do next. This is important for you to come to agreement, because then you can see where people are coming from. Usually, people misjudge where others are coming from.
Right.
It is not such an evil place as people judge them to be.
Okay.
You know, because
So, yeah.
you don't know. Like you see someone's behaving badly with you, but you don't know what they're seeing you as. When you know what they're seeing you as, you're like, wait, I can correct that impression. I'm not like that. But instead, you ask them, why are you being rude with me? Why are you being this with me? Why are you being that with me? Then you can't solve the problem.
So, for example, all this, what you have just spoken about, this is, so for me, I am still somewhat familiar with, people who are deep into mysticism. But I can imagine the general audiences thinking that what you're saying is too far out. And then this attracts a certain kind of negative attention. So how would you implement what you just said in this case?
Well, it depends on what they see me as, right? No, implement, matlab, if I have something to do with them, then I'll remove their misconceptions. But I have nothing to do with them, why should I bother?
That's true.
It's a barking dog, like why should I bother?
Yeah, it's just a hate comment.
Yeah, haters. I don't respond to haters. It's not like avoiding hate. It's like coming to agreement with people with whom you have something to do with.
Okay.
Like your family, like your friends, like your colleagues. These are people whom you meet every day. Why don't you have agreement with all of them?
A level of understanding.
100%
what
agreement.
you're doing.
Not a level, 100% agreement about everything. Why don't we discuss everything until we both see each other as beautiful? Disagreement comes when we both don't see each other as beautiful. That means we have to put this as a central piece of a relationship to be able to see the beauty in the other person. And we have to start from there. But that's not a priority for the selfish generation who has been given a glass of Thames water to drink every day with our English education. They've been taught that the highest thing they can do is come first in class, which is trample on all your classmates and come first. So all they know is that selfishness is good. That's all they've learned. You should all see each other as nice, because that's when you're going to be happy, because happiness comes from other people. Really. And
the common understanding in spirituality is that happiness comes from within.
no, there's a limited amount of happiness that can come from within. That is called self-development. But there's a ceiling to that. But the happiness that comes from others is called mudita in Sanskrit. And that's the one we want. Because we can constantly go on giving joy to others, and that gives us joy back.
Can you define mudita further?
Like if you make a nice meal and 10 people enjoy that meal, and then they tell you that they really enjoyed it, you also feel happiness. That's mudita.
So it can also be understood as you including other people as a part of yourself and then taking care of them.
Instead of thinking of
as a part of yourself.
self-definition, we're thinking of defining a frame in which there's you, there's me, there's what we're doing together, and they also takes into account what environment we're in. So these are all important parts of the frame. And when you know what you're doing together, it's very easy to know right and wrong. Without purpose, you can't know right and wrong. Without another person, you can't know right and wrong. I mean, yes, is it good for my self-development? Then it's right. If it's bad for my self-development, then it's bad. You'll become such a bore because you'll be only doing self-development. You won't have any fun because you don't have any social development. Okay. But when you start doing social development, the frame includes like what are we doing together? So the complicated, it becomes complex, delicious, never boring. Because now you're with just one other person. If you're with 10 other people, you're doing something, then the frame becomes even more complex. And that's how it is.
Yeah, you spoke about self-development. Then you said how you do good things for other people.
Hmm.
But then without self-discovery, the definition of what good is
Hmm.
becomes...
This depends on what we're doing together.
Because then sometimes, for example, somebody thinks that a particular religion or whatever that they think is right
Hmm.
is right for you.
No, no,
And
no,
then I
no,
try to
no, no,
impose that
no.
upon you.
If you start defining right and wrong by what is written in a book, you're screwed. You have to define right and wrong by what's happening around you. And that's the frame. With whom are we and what are we doing with them?
The context.
Yes, the context depends on what's right and wrong, right? So we're doing the shoot now. So what's right? That we sit here and we talk. It's not right that I go for a swim right now. It's not right. That's not right.
Yeah.
But absolutely, if you look, is going for a swim right? Yeah, it's right.
You can do what you want. You're not harming anybody.
You're not harming anybody.
Yeah.
Going for a swim is okay. But right now, it's not right because I'm with you and I have to show respect for you. You came all the way from Delhi. So I can't do whatever the hell I want, right? I come here, I'll sit with you and I'll talk with you. Because that's the frame we're in. What we're doing together is helping people to learn more about yoga through your podcast. And I'm with you on that. So since we're both on it, we're here bearing the heat, sitting and talking. You know, is it right to sit in the sun so long? Doctors will tell you it's wrong. But I think it's right because it fits with what we're doing together. It's the outdoor lifestyle. I want people to know this. Like, life is not inside a room, a studio, an office. That's really not life.
Well, I'm sweaty, but I do feel good.
Yeah. That's another thing. Is sweat bad? Right now, sweat is good. But for some shoots, sweat might be bad, right?
Guruji, right now, in, say, the common person's perception, we see a clear rise of at least the talk about spirituality. People are talking about spirituality quite a bit now.
Yeah.
And there is what is happening in a domestic way in our country as well, that, with the Ram Mandir being established,
Correct.
there is this Hindu resurgence also happening.
Correct. There is.
And so I was just thinking that this coincides with the change of yugas in a certain way. So, what is your opinion on what is happening currently?
I don't
Because
know. If you
there is
go by the information given to us in the scriptures, the yuga, Kaliyuga started around 7,000 years ago.
There's a bit of a debate about this also.
There's no debate. It's written in the books. There's really no debate. And it's going to last 4 lakh something years. So we are in the beginning, we're in the twilight zone between Kaliyuga and Dwapar Yuga. Right?
Dwapar Yuga, yes.
Yeah, that's where we are. Kaliyuga is not even started, like Ghor Kaliyuga is not even started. It's going to start maybe 1 lakh years later. So we are in the twilight zone. The first 10,000 years is the twilight zone, and we're in year 7,000 or something. After 3,000 years, Kaliyuga will really take root.
So we are on the downward spiral right now?
Yeah. We're going to go down and then there's a cusp again.
I was saying the opposite.
There's no way. The amount of ignorance in the world, the education right now, you can be sure Kaliyuga is coming.
So it's going to get worse before it gets better.
For sure, it can get a lot worse. There won't be a drop of water to drink in this river. That's how worse it can get. And that's how it's written in our scriptures. You might say our scriptures are negative. But I've been following, like if you read Bhavishya Puran and you follow what's happening with it, you'll see, wow, it's describing people today exactly. Back then, it's Mahapuran written by Vedvyas, describing people as they are right now. How people act. I've faced all of it, man. Like I've seen the worst of human behavior in my life. Right from murderers to people who are liars, cheats, everything. I've experienced all the violent aspects of life. I've experienced, and I realized that part of my job is to start educating people about purpose, about finding it outside of, outside of pleasure.
So how
Just
does
pleasure and self-development.
So how does one not feel a victim of their yoga at this point?
You are a victim. There's no need to not feel like one. You are a victim, but then what do?
That mentality doesn't.
What you do with that situation? You didn't do anything to bring this yoga on. It's all the play of Devi. So you can pray to Devi, and then you say, I'm gonna take everything you throw at me today. Last night she was throwing things at me till 12 o'clock. She didn't let me sleep. And I said, hey, I have podcast. You have to let me sleep now. Then she said, okay, sleep. And she woke me up again at 6. Hmm? So it's Devi's play. If you have empathy with Devi, you can enjoy it. I'm here to have fun. There's no doubt about it.
So fun can be had during Kaliyuga.
Fun only should be had. A lot of fun can be had if you have health. In Kaliyuga, it's very easy to lose your health. Boom, you lose your health, you die. You lose your health, you die. It's so easy to die in Kaliyuga. People are just popping off. I got cancer, died. I got this, died. I got diabetes, died. Their lives are getting shorter and shorter. It's like 75 years now. Uh, people are dying, popping off at the 60s. Both my parents popped off when they were like 70. Nobody
It's
took care of
considered
the
a
health.
decent age.
Yeah, it's considered decent at 70 years. What can you do? You're just getting wise. When you're 50, you're getting little wise. And then when you're 70, by 50, you've already lost your youth, okay? Youthfulness. And then by the time you're 70, you died. Like, what is this? And I've lived with immortals. They
So
don't age.
you teach immortal yoga,
Hmm.
but the lifespans today are shortening.
See, immortality is
And
not a lifespan.
Huh.
Immortality is a condition of body,
Okay.
which heals faster than it decays.
Okay.
That's it. You're
So
immortal.
how long do you plan on living?
As long as I want.
Really?
Yeah. Because my body heals faster than it decays. Like, I haven't slept all of last night, man. But everything is healing up.
So
heals
it would
faster.
be beyond the normal.
Yeah, we
Human
heal.
lifespan?
We heal a lot faster. If they did scientific test on us, they would find mitochondria is 10,000 times more than a normal human being. Like we walked up this hill, did you see me panting even though I was carrying things? Nothing. Because my mitochondria are like that. I can lift the rock under which you're sitting alone, which both of you lifted and came. And I won't even pant and puff because of mitochondria. There's the internal energy. Mitochondria are a powerhouse of your cell. You studied in school. That's all people know about it. They don't know anything more.
So if you live longer than the people who are disbelieving you,
Yeah,
they won't get to see you.
I'm just
being
planning
right.
to outlive my haters. I don't know why you worry so much about whether people believe you or don't believe you, man. Who cares? Like, is this guy going to send me money? No. He's going to send me hate. And I just block him. That's it. There are lots of people who send me hate. Don't waste your time. Watch something else. So simple. What will I do with your hate? What would I do with your hate? Is it of any value in my life? Why are you throwing it at me? Keep it with yourself. Burn yourself. Don't throw it at me. Because if you throw it at me, I'll give you one whack. If you come physically near me and throw hate at me, everybody will get mowed down.
Yeah, one thing I've realized is that once I started experiencing things beyond what you would call the average person's experience of just the physical, that I had to come to accept that this is reality. And if somebody is not willing to see it, then that is not my problem.
No,
I cannot shift my worldview according to
There are
that.
3 realities. There are 4 states of consciousness. 3 of them are real and 1 is imaginary.
Okay.
The imaginary one is called imagination. The real state of consciousness have 3 forms: wakeful, jagrut, and swapna. Swapna is also real, dream. And then there's Turiya, which is a combination of jagrut and swapna. If you are able to integrate your swapna with jagrut, then whatever you dream of will happen. That's what yoga does. Yoga gets you to Turiya consciousness. So whatever you dream about becomes reality. Isn't that cool? So imagination is called Sushupti and dream is Swapna, wakeful is Jagrut, and the combination of wakeful and sleep and dream is called Turiya, the fourth consciousness. So we try and aim to be in Turiya consciousness, the fourth consciousness. By mastering the dream state while we are awake. It's wakeful dreaming that we do in yoga. It's completely opposite of what we do in Vipassana, for example, where they want you to be only wakeful. That is Buddhist.
How is it different from daydreaming?
Daydreaming, yeah. It's like
Conscious
it's
daydreaming.
like daydreaming, but you don't check out. You're here in body as well. If I throw a pillow at you, you can hold it.
Okay.
But you're still dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
That's Turiya. In Turiya, you're here now also, you're present also, you're empathetic also, but you're dreaming also.
Mm-hmm.
You're dreaming of what this could be, isn't it? So there's this thing called craniosacral therapy,
Mm.
and they have something called a field of awareness or a field of perception. So if you give me your hand, just touch me. Yeah, this thing works only by touch. Okay.
Mm.
So now I'm only becoming aware of a small field of awareness which is around your knuckles.
Mm.
Okay. I'm going to increase my field of awareness to at least till your elbow.
Mm.
Can you feel the difference between these two states?
Yeah.
If I increase my field of awareness to include your whole body,
Mm.
now it feels different.
Mm. But isn't it my awareness which is switching?
Okay, I won't tell you. I'll just shift my awareness. You
Okay.
can feel it. Okay, this is state number 1. What you're feeling, and then
So you're doing randomly now?
I'm doing randomly. I'm
Okay.
shrinking also sometimes.
Mm.
This is state number 2, where I've changed my awareness. Then I change my awareness.
Say which one's the right now?
Yeah, this is state number 3,
Which is?
which is I'm aware of all the surroundings as far as I can. In the first one, I was aware only of your body. Second one, I was aware only of your elbow. And third, I was aware of this entire. Don't they all feel different? My touch itself feels different, and my energy changes. So
It's
that's
subtle.
yeah, it's subtle. Yeah, it's subtle. So the dream is like that. It's subtle, and it is changed by attention. Your attention can shape a dream. So that's Turiya. I mean, everybody can experience this. It's not some state reserved for yogis after thousands of years of practice. We have 4
But
states of
this is
consciousness.
the basic principle would be where your attention is going, that's where the energy is going. Like you could look at a
No.
part of your hand.
That's different. I'm
That is
saying
different.
if you change your field, then you can change the size of your dream.
Hmm.
I can dream different things also. Okay, so I will dream up different elements.
Hmm.
So it's not just attention. I'm also dreaming that.
Elements on the periodic table or the 5
No,
elements?
the 5 elements.
Okay.
Right? So I dream a different element now.
Okay.
Try and guess what it is.
I'm confused.
Okay, just notice the feelings you get from my hand. Okay.
Fire.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What will feel different. Okay.
Hmm.
Now I'm dreaming of water.
Hmm.
You had to have subtle senses. Okay.
Hmm.
If you go to Thames Nadi education
Hmm.
at an Avidya Mandir, you'll not have it.
Hmm.
But if you live in a forest like me, you'll have it. And then you felt the water? Did you see the
Yeah.
difference? Okay, now let's try another element.
Is this space?
It's wind.
Oh.
Space is even more spacey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you space. Better space.
Oh yeah.
And then there's earth. These are the 5 basic feelings that you can give to someone, and everything else, all other feelings are a combination of these 5 feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's the earth one. Okay. So you have to practice them as a pure feeling, and you have to practice them as a combination.
Hmm.
And if you learn how to combine the elements, you can create anything in your dream. Your dream is made of the Panchabhutas. It is reality. So when you integrate your dream on top of your consciousness, you get Turiya, and Turiya turns everything. It makes your reality bearable in Kaliyuga. Yeah, skills to survive Kaliyuga.
Okay. So yeah, we touched upon the Ram Mandir.
Hmm.
So so one level of understanding divine entities if we were to refer to them like that,
Mm-hmm.
would be as characters on the, like comic book characters, like the Avengers. So that
Mm-hmm.
is the lowest level.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say would be where you're ascribing.
That's what most of the Westerners see Indian gods as.
Yes, all idols and all, they're referred to
Yeah.
as, idiots worshipping a cartoon character or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. In Norway, declared religion to be a mental health disorder.
Yeah. So then after that, I would assume that you are constructing or dreaming up
Mm.
an entity
Mm.
with certain qualities in mind.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to construct; it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to ask you. How can one actually have a perception?
Mm.
Somebody who does not have it, or somebody is
I don't
on the
know,
way,
man. If you go to
somewhere
Tirupati
in the spectrum.
temple, there are like thousands of people thronging there.
Hmm.
Why do you
But
think they're
that would
going there?
not validate my experience
Each one is having an
or lack of
experience.
which.
Everyone is having their own experience of it, right?
Hmm.
It's not an objective thing because when you perceive something subtle, you change it to your convenience as well.
Hmm.
The way it represents to you as the interface, like how a Sony camera will take a different color uh, than Canon or
Hmm.
Nikon.
So it's subjective, you're saying. So the experience of a singular entity can be
Depends on your
subjective.
philosophy. What you see depends on your philosophy.
Hmm.
If your philosophy is narrow, you will see only narrow things.
Okay.
The philosophy of science is very narrow, so it sees very small things.
Hmm.
The philosophy of spirituality is very big, so it sees big things. That's all it is.
So how does one distinguish between a delusion that they're having? Because people do have delusions about these things.
It's nothing called delusion. Anybody having a delusion is their reality.
Hmm.
It's their reality. That's what we have to call it. It's not your reality, but it's their reality.
Hmm.
So there's nothing called delusion. So we classify it into sankalp and vikalp. Okay.
Hmm.
Sankalp is a reality that you make, that you visualize, and that you want to create, that you dream of, that helps so many people.
Hmm.
But vikalp was the reality that is just like absolutely purposeless. And there are so many people went to school, then got married when they didn't want to, had children when they didn't want to, joined a job that they didn't want to, and now they're paying EMIs that they don't want to.
Hmm.
That's called vikalp.
Hmm.
That is delusion.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, they could change the reality anytime if they wanted to, but they don't.
Yeah, I
They
understand.
argue why it's so hard to change the reality.
Hmm.
They
I've seen
argue
that.
about it.
Yeah. I've seen that. Some people just get married so that they can complain about their spouse. you know.
Most people, I guess.
Yeah.
I have not found a couple not complaining to me. At least those who come to me will complain something or the other. But then lately, after my teachings, things have improved for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got some whining against their spouse.
Hmm.
Just
No, but what I was coming to was
yeah.
that I understand what you're saying, but then for a person who does design their life according to how they want, and they're reasonably happy in their life, whatever they have chosen, I don't think that's a very high bar.
It's
It
not.
may it may sound like to a lot of people,
Yeah.
but then I don't think it's a very high bar.
Yeah.
And then comes in the aspect which we just spoke about. So this is one level of designing, which is still within reason and logic. If you take some reference of reason and logic, and then you come to delusion.
Yeah, reason and logic is as good as the inputs. If your senses are not sensitive, then your reason also will be very low.
So it comes down to perception then?
It's garbage in, garbage out, right? Senses, yes. Senses are what create perception. So if your senses are sharp and you're able to sense subtle things, then of course you'll have a lot more better logic. Logic depends on the inputs. What is the logic, man? The logic is like we want to do the best for ourselves. That's all. What I'm saying, change that logic only to we want to do the best for everyone who's involved in our life. And when you do that, then you'll have to sense subtler, you'll have to be empathetic, you'll have to become a mind reader. I will look at you and know what you're thinking of me. And I won't let it go because I won't even let a thought go. I'm like, how did you have that thought? Let's figure out what the conflict is and sort it right now. You'll be in that mood because you don't want somebody even thinking of things behind your back about you. And you'll get it, you'll feel it, you'll be so sensitive and present that, hey, I don't think you're feeling good about me today. What's your problem? You can have a conversation with it about it right away. But people just suppress all that. I think it's normal. If they didn't say anything, they don't really mean anything. Then then say, are you angry with me? If you ask someone, they'll say, why did I say anything? I'm not angry with you. You're just imagining it. And then they'll slam the door.
This would be just a lack of transparency in an individual. Like what they are
No, they are
within, they're not the
transparent.
same
Lack of
outside.
sensitivity. They can't hide if you're sensitive like me, right? People can't lie to me. I'm like, you're not into this, get out. Or you're into this, great, stay. I need to know if somebody's into what we're doing together. If they're not into what we're doing together, then why should I entertain them? I'll show them the door straight away. Dhad. And people are like, why did you block me? On something else. Somebody's coming on GPay and asking, why did you block me on Instagram? And WhatsApp. I blocked him on GPay also.
That's a new way to stalk somebody. They're blocked
No, that's a
everywhere.
butt hurt because I don't want to engage with people in the usual kachda, right? It's either agreement or dand. Sam or dand. I don't know bhed, dan, all that. In the you know what these are?
Yes,
They're the 4 tools, you
you
know?
told me about them. Yeah.
Yeah. Of conflict resolution.
So you were talking about how the experience of these divine entities is a subjective experience. But then there has to be some level of objectivity to it.
There's no level of objectivity even to an actual experience. If you lift this gada and I lift this gada, we'll have a different experience.
But then the objectivity would remain that we did lift it versus me not lifting it.
Here, there's a temple. You go to the temple, I go to the temple. It's going to be a different experience. What's your point? Like, I didn't understand.
So no, what I'm trying to get at is how does one come to experience such entities if it is not there in somebody's experience? This is what I'm trying
It's
to get
always there in someone's experience, you know, because, you know, you go to an airport, you have a different feeling. You go to a hair salon, you have a different feeling. And if you go to a club, you have a different feeling, right? You go to an apartment, you have a different feeling. We already experience the changes in energy.
But there would be a degree because as one...
Like architects want to give a sense of something, okay? But the sense of something that the architect is going for might mean something else to me, right? So the architect might want to create a house that is structural, functional, and gives you a feeling of security. But to you, it can look like a pile of shit. So it depends what you're going for and what you do. It is subjective. Every experience is subjective. So that is why in our Puranas or Stutis, whatever is written, especially in the descriptions of the gods, they don't give you that much details. They give you enough room to dream it up. They just say Shiva has he's got a garland of a snake on him. And they don't say what kind of snake. The rest is up to you. Your mind fills in the blanks.
Right. We were talking about this earlier, that if one were to have a bigger impact in line with what you were saying, mudita.
Yes.
So in that capacity, one would need the support of an entity beyond themselves, a larger force.
For sure. Without divine power, you can't do anything big. That's what I've realized. Human brain is smart, but it's limited to a certain level. And if you want to cross that limit, then you need divine power. You need spirituality to get to that level.
Intent would not be enough?
No. There's a difference between...
knowing how to do something and intending.
I'll give you a very solid example because in my martial art class, I used to make everyone do 500 push-ups. Otherwise, I won't take them as a student. Anyone who has... You don't have to do it continuous. You can take 5 hours to do it. But you'll sit here in my studio and you'll do it. And if you are one of those who can finish the 500, I'll teach you because you have that kind of integrity. You know? That's how I used to take students. Even now, I'm very strict with who I teach. Okay, so I have these tests. But this test was so hard that people who went to the gym couldn't even do like 70, 80. They would just gas out.
In 5 hours?
Not 5 hours.
Mm.
Like after 70, 80, they'll get cramps.
Okay.
And they weren't able to do more.
Mm.
They'll start hurting so bad, become so sore that they can't do more, right?
Mm.
So then I started doing it in a batches. I said, okay, we're interviewing for new batches now, so come. So there'll be 20, 25 people. And I'll ask them, how many of you believe in God? And there would be like some put their hands up with a lot of shame. Then I'm like, okay, you guys, you say Jai Hanuman and you do this. Or you say Jai Mahakali and you do this. Or whatever your God is. Jai Jesus and you do this. Okay? And you, all the rest of you atheists, I want you to say Jai Gravity, Jai Strong and Weak Nuclear Force, and Jai Electromagnetic Force. And then you do it. Okay? Guess who actually finished the 500? Those are saying Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. They did it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other people, strong and weak nuclear force.
Because there's no emotional component in that.
Correct.
Oh.
Not only not emotional component, when you call Hanuman in particular ways, he does appear. So as to give them a particular mantra to call. And that would give them the strength to... 500 is not a joke, man. You try, okay? I'm not even joking. 500 is very difficult even for an elite athlete to do. But I used to make that my beginner's task to come in. And guess what I used to make them do in 1 year's time? 2,500. At one go. People couldn't believe it. And then my Krav Maga instructor couldn't believe it. When he saw me doing, like, he had a rule that if you're like 1 minute late, everybody does 5 push-ups. We had to do 1,400 push-ups. One guy came really late. No, everyone remembers his name and they remember that day. It was traumatic for everyone. The 1,300 push-ups that we have to do in Krav Maga class, otherwise he won't teach us. And I did it and I finished it. And I stood up in less than an hour. I said, I'm done. And he saw me do it. And then he's like, how did you do that? I said, Indian martial art, desi. So then he said, but can you fight? If I come and attack you, can you fight? You know, desi martial arts, all that, this. I spat on his face and hit him twice, pulled his leg up and smashed him on the floor. He did not expect someone to spit on his face. I learned it in the streets here in India. So he said, I will make you the Krav Maga instructor for Goa. So I became Krav Maga instructor for Goa. Actually, it's a 3-part course. You have to pay 40,000 for each one. At that time, 40,000, now much more. For each installment of the course. And then you do it over 3 years and then you become an instructor. He didn't even ask me to come for the rest of the class. He said, you know better fighting than me. And I'm some world number 3 or something. So you can teach in Goa. So when I was teaching in Goa, I got a chance to teach Navy commandos as well. That was exciting. Yeah. So close quarters combat. I've taught close quarters combat to Karnataka police, Tamil Nadu police also. So still people remember me because they use some of my techniques in some riots and stuff like that. You know. But why is this? No, why do I have so much knowledge about Hanuman, martial arts, Hanuman Gada? It's different if you say the Hanuman mantra and you do the Hanuman Gada. It's totally different feeling. You'll see today. So the God does exist. God does come and it helps you to lift heavy things. That's why we test it. Like, can we lift heavy things with the name of Hanuman? If you say Ram, 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 this rock will become light. You'll be able to lift it. You have to really believe in Ram, yes. But if you really do, it will become light. And it happens. If you had faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain, said Jesus. Why not? I can do more than a mustard seed. First I used to think I can do football size faith. But now my faith is pretty big. It's like a planet. Yeah. People without faith can't do anything.
Does this move beyond belief?
It's grace, man. Siddhas shake trees. They'll sit here and shake a tree from this side. They'll shake a tree there, shake a tree somewhere else.
But why would you want to physically manifest something like this?
But just to play around. Because you can't. So that you know that you're never alone. God is always there. You want Shiva to show himself. How the hell are you supposed to have faith if he doesn't show himself? But if you want to show him, you have to be hungry. You have to cry for Shiva. You're like, show me. You have to cry for it. And that's what Ramakrishna did. He doesn't know any Vedas, nothing. He went to Kali Ma and cried, I want to see you, I want to see you. And she came. She's like, yeah, yeah, you love me so much, I'm here. Anyone can have this experience. It's not something you intellectually understand. You have to have emotions. Why do you have such ghatia emotions? Instead of that, if you had nice emotions, you could do better things. No? People's emotions are like suspicion. This is where people are. Suspicion, mistrust, victimhood. Well, what happened to abundance? What happened to, you know, fertility, abundance, that anything is possible? Where's that optimism? You know, where's that sense of fearless adventure? People are so scared, so scared, so scared. They're scared of everything. They're scared of snakes. They're scared of anything. And they're also scared that gurus will cheat them. That also they're scared.
Because there are some who do.
So what's the use of being scared? Don't you have discrimination? Why do you have senses?
That's true.
Why should you go put your leg in shit?
Yeah, I mean, suspicion would be wrong. Nobody would like to be under suspicion.
You sense, and if the person is not is a fake, then you don't go. Like I know who's a fake guru. I don't go to them. If somebody's a real guru, I go and meet them. I speak to them. We can get along.
Yeah.
I can get along with a real guru. If somebody's had no experience or only learning, only knowledge, but no purpose and no power. There are a lot of people learning Vedas. Lots of knowledge, no power because they look like skinny sticks. What is this? You can recite all the Vedas, but if I slap you, you'll fall down. What is this power for the Vedas? Person who knows the Vedas should be like Parshuram.
Because they're spiritual, so they don't have to be physically strong.
No, Ichcha, Jnana, Kriya. These are the three parts of Devi. Ichcha is her head, Jnana is her torso, and Kriya is her legs and hands. If you don't have Kriya Shakti, you don't have legs and hands. If you don't have Ichcha Shakti, you don't have head. If you have only knowledge, it's only a torso. What do you do with only a torso? So people with knowledge are just like so arrogant, so arrogant. They can't do anything. Those who can do things are humble because they know that they can only do with other people. This selfishness has to go, man. Self-development. I'm here to kill self-development.
Don't you think it has some place?
No. You'll develop yourself automatically when you want to develop society. No. Someone asked me, how can I learn many things very fast? I said, start a business. You'll learn. You'll have to interact with customers. Oh, nobody's fit to start a business. After this, Thames Nadi, drinking every day at Avidya Mandir. Thames Nadi bar. Where they get you drunk on Avidya. They can't even start a business. They can't even make an offer to people. They don't have empathy about what people want. They don't have confidence that they'll be accepted. You know why people don't start a business? They worry about rejection. They'll reject me and I'll feel bad. This is why they don't go after their dream. I'll get rejected and I'll feel bad. What? You start letting that stop you from your dreams? Come on, man. You're spoiled. You want everything to be easy. Why is everything so easy? I want my life to be difficult. You've seen already how difficult my life is. One jhalak you got. Imagine the whole year. What all happens. I have a difficult life. Because I have a difficult life, I'm tough and smart. And that should go together. If you don't have Ichcha, Kriya, Jnana together, you're just like misrepresenting Devi. You're cutting Devi into parts. You're cutting Kali into parts. It's no use. You have to see it as bad as that. You have to see it as bad as defacing Kali. Then you'll make sure that you have knowledge and form and purpose.
I did not understand it in the. I mean, when I thought of this, I didn't understand in the way that you said it, but how I saw, certain people around me who are particularly trained and specialized in some task. So, since they've gone and learned in college and school how to execute a particular task, usually it is one department, or how to be a very, very good cog
Mm.
in a larger machinery of
Mm.
corporations.
Mm.
And they know how to do that very well, which
Mm.
obviously has a place. It's not that that thing
They're
in
not
itself is
happy,
bad,
dude. They're not happy.
but they're not happy.
Yeah.
So how I looked at it is that they have one muscle extremely developed, the rest of the body not developed.
That makes sense.
I'm noticing that people have a very lopsided approach to a human being. So,
Mm.
all parents and everyone actually
Mm.
wants to be good at one thing and one thing only.
Mm.
That is to somehow fit as well as possible in a certain corporation,
Mm.
find their way up and generate as much money as possible. And beyond that,
Mm.
there is nothing else which is even considered to be, of value, and that something else will contribute to their happiness beyond this.
Yeah. It's really sad. The peasants became the working class. The working class became the corporate employees.
Hmm.
That's what happened. And
So the mentality is the same. Is that what you're
they
saying?
have more money, but the same mentality.
Hmm.
That's it. There's no cry for freedom, wanting things to change. It's no adventure.
Hmm.
So that's what it is. I mean, it is what it is, man. But once you realize it, then you don't have to be that way.
Hmm.
Because you're all trained to be that way. You know, 1 liter of Thames water every day. You've been trained in selfishness, so now you can only fit in a machine, in a cog. You just cannot, even though you're surrounded by people, you can't start something of your own.
Hmm.
How can you start something of my own? They just can't even think about it. We used to tie up elephants in Kerala when they were young because there's no chain that is strong enough to hold an elephant.
Hmm.
But you'll see that elephants are standing with a chain that looks like they can break it, but they're not breaking free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact. You can't make a heavy enough chain to hold an elephant.
Hmm. But they're conditioned to believe
Yeah.
that the chain is
When
stronger.
they're young, you let them struggle against the
Yes.
chain, and it learns when it's a kid that it cannot fight this chain.
Hmm.
Now you're an adult, you have the strength of an elephant, but you can't fight a chain.
Hmm.
So they're all chained like that.
And the
Things that are not.
conditioning, I feel, runs so deep that our own perception of our own selves, it gets reduced. We feel
Diminished.
very devalued.
Correct.
For somebody, it may give them happiness for all you know. But for everybody, no.
Yeah. I mean, most of the people are not happy. I'm yet to find a happy corporate employee who's happy with everything.
Hmm.
Uh, they're happy with some things, but there's some things they're not happy with.
Hmm.
They're just like, you have to get up and show up every day at the same office again and again. How, man? I can't even do that.
Would you take an unhappy employee as a candidate or as a disciple in your akhada?
Yeah, I do.
You would?
I do. I mean, that's my job.
Hmm.
If they really want to learn, I'll teach anyone. I don't discriminate. But they have to pass certain things. Like, I want them to follow a natural lifestyle. If it's not possible and he cries about it, I'm like, okay, bye.
Hmm.
I don't want anyone to work after 6 p.m. Just doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
You have the whole night, enjoy it. Like, why are you working all night and working all weekend? And I can't understand what the urgency is. Why is it so urgent? Why can't you learn to make money in a way that's not so stressful?
Hmm.
It's not that hard. I also make money, lots of it. I'm not stressed. If I can do it, you can do it, man. I didn't even go to school and college.
But does this have anything to do with what an individual does? Or does it have more to do with how they go through
It's
it?
the drawing you make on the cave.
Hmm.
If you can make a good
Yeah.
drawing, a lot of other people want to catch that animal with you.
Hmm.
There's one guy who's got the vision, I want to catch this mammoth.
Hmm.
And then when he draws it on the cave, then others who see it, and then maybe 400, not 400, 100 people join him. They say, we're all excited by this vision, let's do it. And they get an agreement, they risk their lives to go catch a mammoth, and they catch it, and then they eat it for 6 months. That's how we survived the Ice Age. So,
What's the drawing on the cave for you?
drawing on the cave is to move from self-development to social development, I think. That's what it is. That's the animal I want to catch. I want to create a society where people have agreement. It is called Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya employed Ram Niti, and created a society of agreement. Which is why when even one washerman disagreed with Ram about Sita, he asked Sita to leave.
But how is this, in what way is it different from philanthropy?
It's not philanthropy.
Hmm.
It's agreement about what are we doing together.
Hmm.
And agreement about everything.
As a collective.
Yeah, so right and wrong is not up for debate. It's not subjective.
Hmm.
Right and wrong is very clear because we have a goal.
Hmm.
The moment we all have goals, our right and wrongs align. If you don't have goals, right and wrong doesn't align, right? So right now, people don't know what's right, don't know what's wrong. Half of them are dying of confusion because they don't know what's right. Because purpose would be given to you by your tribe. But you have no tribe, so you have no purpose.
So you cannot function as a lone wolf?
Yes, I'm all for tribe development, country development, not self development. Because self development उसमें ही हो जाता है. It automatically happens.
You have to rise up to the task.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to worry about self development separately. Don't have to worry about getting a tan. I'm always out in the sun. I'll get a tan. Self development is like the tan. People are trying to get a tan by artificial means.
Straight on.
But get out in nature and it will happen. So similarly, you start working with a tribe, your self development will automatically happen. You're trying to develop yourself in a gym to look like a warrior. But if you hang out with warriors, you'll start looking like a warrior automatically, right? When Hari came here, he had a big stomach. Now he can lift the stone which we both are sitting at. He only moved it here. Right? How? It's heavy, man. You go to a gym, you also found it hard.
Yeah.
But how is he lifting it? Because he's hanging out with warriors. You'll become a warrior if you hang out with warriors. Because you do warrior things. You eat warrior things. You eat warrior food, you do warrior things, you live the warrior lifestyle, you'll become a warrior. Automatically. It is so easy to educate. Why we don't have tribes? We don't have anymore. We don't even have family anymore. 3, 4 people in a family can't agree with each other. How horrible. How horrible. This is what raises cortisol. If you have people disagreeing with you all the time, it'll raise your stress hormones. You'll have adrenaline and cortisol in your body all the time. You can generate it. If you start a fight at 6 o'clock, when the sun has gone down, your cortisol is supposed to be low. You raise your cortisol again, artificially. How many people are yelling and screaming at each other in the house? Making threatening gestures, showing their hand like this and talking. How many? Why is this necessary? Why is this violence necessary? It's not. If you want to learn that, then you'll have to learn tribe consciousness. You can't learn what? Self-consciousness. Everybody is me, myself, my consciousness, my super consciousness, my samadhi, my mukti, my moksha. They'll get my stick. What about the others? You want to come first in class? What about the others? Who's going to take them?